Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon, we will not be joined by Commissioner Collins and Commissioner Shea. We are going to have William Buckley sworn in to act as temporary acting commissioner so we can fill our weekly role. The executive order is first to be read for this meeting of April 20, 2022. The commissioners duly posted. On Thursday, March 12th, 2020, Governor Baker issued an order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20. That order was effective immediately until it is rescinded or the state of emergency is terminated. On February 12, 2022, by the action of the legislature, the order was extended until July 15, 2022. I will now call the meeting to order with the roll call. First, I will ask Mr. Buckley to read a statement.
In conformity with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 34, Section 12, it is duly appointed that William J. Buckley, Jr. of Walpole has been duly appointed by Richard R. Stady, County Commissioner, and Mary Hickey, First Assistant Clerk of Courts of Norfolk County, to act as County Commissioner in place of Peter H. Collins of Milton on all matters pertaining to the business of the day. Witnessed by seal of our hands on this, the 20th day of April, 2022, signed by Richard R. Stady and Mary Hickey, First Assistant Clerk of Courts.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buckley. Let's rise and salute our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Now, as mentioned, we are having a little bit of a different meeting today, but I will call the roll call. So Acting Commissioner Buckley.
Present.
And Commissioner Stady is present, therefore quorum is declared to conduct business. Next would be the minutes of the open session. Probably would need to table those.
No, you can do a motion.
Can we approve those minutes?
Yes.
We
You
can.
have to be physically present.
Okay. Well, we'll take the meeting minutes of April 13.
So, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the April 13th, 2022 meeting minutes. Meeting minutes as presented.
All right, motion is made and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And I think that's all we had, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next up, public comment. Do we have anybody on the line today concerning public comment? All right, seeing none, let's move on. Appointments. I don't believe we have any today.
No, sir.
No appointments. Old business. Do we have anything
No,
left
sir.
over? No old business. That brings us quickly to item 7, personnel matters for consideration. Mr. Buckley, registry of deeds first.
Thank you. We have a notice of contingent appointment for Julie Kelleher of Needham, Massachusetts, 02492, as temporary head clerk, flat rate of $30 an hour, effective 4/26/22.
I've been motion made and seconded for the appointment, contingent appointment of Julie Kelleher of Needham, Mass. as temporary head clerk for the rate stated effective 4/26. All in favor? We have a question.
The paperwork is incomplete, Mr. Commissioner. We are awaiting some final documentations associated with our query. So if you wouldn't mind, just wait on this a week. We should have it wrapped up by then.
Okay,
Motion
withdraw
is-
that motion. Have a motion to table.
Withdraw the motion. Motion to table appointment of Julie Kelleher, 02492.
I think someone might be speaking. Do you have a
Yes.
comment, Michelle? Michelle Levy? Sorry. Yes, who's speaking, please? We can't see who it is.
This is Marguerite Lee from the Registry of Deeds.
Hi, Marguerite. How are you?
You know, would request that this be approved conditionally upon the completion of the paperwork. We have just hand-delivered a physical and also a drug test on behalf of this applicant.
Understood. We are waiting. She has not gone through a query yet, Marguerite.
But if you could approve it upon condition of a favorable query check, that would be great. She could start right away for us.
Is she, is the Corey paperwork in the system as far as we know? Like, has it been submitted or what entails with the Corey? Is it on her end, our end? Where is it stand, Marguerite? Do you know?
You folks do the query check.
Okay. I'm comfortable enough which has satisfied most, if not all, the requirements to make it a contingent upon submission of satisfied Corey? I would entertain a motion again to make it appointment contingent on the satisfaction of the Corey.
Was the county director? Thoughts?
That's fine.
All right.
You can do that.
I'll make a motion of contingent appointment of Ms. Julie Keller of Needham as temporary head clerk, contingent upon the completion of satisfied Corey and all other pre-employment documents.
All right, today's date is what day? Today is 20.
20.
So let's make it that if she does not satisfy the Corey by the effective date, she cannot begin her job. I would be totally comfortable with that.
Sounds good to me.
Understood, Marguerite?
Yes, and thank you very much.
Welcome.
Appreciate that.
All right, so that motion has been made and seconded for the appointment of Julie Kelleher, temporary head clerk, with the understanding and the condition as the motion was read that she satisfies the Corey, and it must be completed on or about April 26th. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? That motion carries. Wells and Recreation?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve contingent employment of Lauren B. Chin of South Boston, Massachusetts as a seasonal pro shop employee for the flat rate listed $14.25 an hour, effective 4/21/22.
All right, second. All in favor? I'm sorry. Motion is made for contingent employment for Lauren Chin as a seasonal pro shop employee, effective 4/21/22. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Next, I believe we have, that's all for appointment, personnel matters, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Payroll and expense warrants. Wayne, will you do us the honor?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve warrant number 22-40 ARPA for the town of Bellingham in the amount of $261,669.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That carries.
Through Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve warrant list number 22-42 payroll for the county in the amount of $138,299.86.
All right, I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Through Mr.
Carries.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve payroll warrant number 22-42 bracket 21 bracket payroll for the school, the amount of $335,532 and 52 cents.
All right, I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Through Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve
Carries.
payroll warrant number 22-10 for the expenses relative to the school in the amount of $185,987.31.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, make motion to approve warrant number 04-03-22 for the expenses relative to the county, to the amount of $258,412.56.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Thank you. Director Cronin, really quick, is there any paperwork on Lauren Chen to sign? Any blue papers? Oh, we'll get those there. Okay, we'll get them after. All right, that's fine. All right, item 10, the March trial balance for approval. I have something here, John.
Oh, you got it.
I have.
Sorry, Dick.
All right, no problem. So in what I'm reading in front of me is the trial balance dated 3/31/22.
Mhm.
And I believe our total balance at this time, including APA funds, is $80,193,546.35. I believe that's
That is accurate.
okay.
Assistant Treasurer Joe Dewey is on the line. He can address any concerns within the warrant. I was aware that there was one item relative to our healthcare costs. Please be advised that the shortage associated with that account, I believe, was remedied this past week by the advisory board when it funded what is projected to be the Delta variant on funding needed to close out the year positively. Joe, if you have anything to add on the March trial balance, I yield to you on that.
Joe Dory, are you there?
Hi.
Joe.
Yes, Commissioners. Yeah, not much really to add. We're still in a good position. The only thing I would follow up on John's comment there, the advisory board, I think, put money into group insurance, the general fund group insurance, not the employee fund. So I think that shortfall is going to continue unless something's done about that. I think last year we had the advisory board put 250,000 directly into that account.
Which account is it, Joe, off the top of your head, do you know?
It's the employee share account, which is not in the general fund. It's like in the 500 fund code numbers. If you're looking at the trial balance on the detail, it's almost like 2/3 of the way down. It's
Yep.
federal taxes and then the,
I'll talk to you.
Is it
offline.
under group insurance employee share? Is that what you're talking about, Joe? I'm looking at that now.
yeah, group insurance employee. No,
Right.
employer, yeah, employee, sorry.
Employee, right, okay. And so come again, what were you saying on that? I'm sorry, what were you saying? We're running short on that a little
Yeah,
bit?
for some reason that account since last year has been running a deficit every now and then,
Okay,
and which has never happened before. So I was just pointing out that that's something we need to keep an eye on and maybe take a look at and a deep dive into it to figure out why it's happening.
okay, yep. I mean, it's one or two things, maybe insurance is going up, but we're not contributing enough, I would think, but let's take a flag it, we'll flag it and talk to John.
I'll talk to Michelle. also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Is that motion satisfactory? That's all we're approving, right? The 80 million, the total? I don't need to get into the other there's other attachments here, but the total that I approved, right?
Right, you're just approving basically receipt of the trial balance.
Right. Okay,
Through Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the trial balance as presented.
all right. So motion is made and seconded to approve the trial balance as presented to us this afternoon. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. What's next on that thing?
Did you want to talk about the ARPA grants to Bellingham? You approved them under the warrant, Dick, but I wasn't sure if you want to have a dialogue.
I didn't know if you're going to do it on 14, maybe under where it says American Rescue Plan.
We can, I believe Bellingham might be on the line.
Is there anybody from Bellingham here today concerning the ARPA grant? Do we have anybody from Bellingham?
There's a chance they might join.
Dennis was going to try to make it, but they were double booked this afternoon. But
Okay.
they sent their gratitude for their now fourth award from us.
I thought so. They've got some before.
They got
right?
this. They
Yeah.
got it right.
So if you don't mind, Mr. Commissioner, I would like to briefly explain what these two awards are.
Right, so we're
And I'll
back to
give a
ARPA.
general,
Sure.
if you don't mind, I'll give the general update on ARPA on the
All right.
back end, okay?
That's fine, yeah.
This afternoon before you for approval was as Bill indicated, two additional awards for the town of Bellingham, one for $30,000, one for $231,669. Both of these fall under the revenue replacement category. Bellingham, like every other county, community interested in spending funds under the revenue loss category, offers to us details on how they will spend the money once they receive the funds. So basically, under a revenue loss, they declare a certain amount that's eligible for them under the non-calculated revenue loss benefit from the Treasury. And they give us the examples of what they will spend it on. And in this case, it includes ongoing payroll costs for a public health nurse and the purchase of various COVID-19 related supplies necessary for town departments. Furthermore, they split their revenue loss into two categories, two applications, excuse me. The second one carries on with $35,000 to purchase and install IT equipment in the municipal building, consulting services in connection with the first phase of the ARPA revenue loss calculation, a DPW standpipe, ongoing payroll costs for the public health nurse, which was covered under the first one as well, ongoing payroll costs for grant administration, an air filter purchase, council on aging kitchen updates and blueprints, and municipal building security cameras. Commissioner Stady, you and I had a previous conversation about the item relative to the consulting services performed by Powers and Sullivan. I reached out to our contact, Renee Davis, today, who, as you probably know, is our second level approver on our grants, and she approved this, and she indicated it is an allowable expense. It is not a conflict of interest. The services were delivered by her firm by somebody outside her group under the initial final rule phase when a calculated revenue loss option was available. So recall that when the grant first came out, communities like Bellingham could calculate the revenue loss impact. They hired Powers and Sullivan to do that for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final rule came out on February 2nd and changed everything. So they incurred the expense. They don't need a calculated revenue, but they have the expense and it is eligible under ARPA for cost. So those would be the areas under which they would expend the funds associated with both of these items.
So would you just clarify for me? Thank you, John. I see the breakout of the 231. What was the lump of 30,000 for? That check or that separate item? The town of Bellingham, 30,000. I didn't,
The purchase of various COVID-19 related supplies necessary for town departments, payroll costs for public health nurse services, starting 12/23/21.
was that not back up? I didn't see it. Maybe I missed it. I kept looking and maybe it's near the end. Let me see. Yeah, it must be at the very end.
It's at the back, yep.
Okay, all right, so I got that. So that's good news for Bellingham, that they've got another grant.
It
And
is.
it's great to see it in terms of revenue replacement, because I know that's been a sore point for some communities, but
This
that's
is
great.
their
That's
third
great.
report.
Great.
Mhm.
And we've already, do we need another motion? We've already made a motion.
You do
on the
not,
warrant.
no. I just
But,
thought I'd explain the details associated with
yeah.
the grant, especially
Well,
if somebody was available to.
If Bellingham's out there, congratulations for, again, your diligence and hard work, and we're very happy to present you a check. We'd love to do it in person, and someday we're going to be doing that. But for now, your town is richer by over $260,000, and let's keep the good work up. So good work for everybody aboard. It's great. It's great. Thank you. All right, bid openings. I guess we don't have any.
No.
Okay, we can move on. It goes up to the next item, contract awards, on-call electrician as needed for the county of Norfolk to include any of its towns or cities for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew. Hello,
Hello, how are
how
you?
are you?
Good, I was running in. Did you say plumbing or electrician?
We're with the electrician right now, please. All right. All right.
Stuck on me.
So if the contract award is being awarded to,
Another one?
for an on-call electrician, and again, we said it would be for a period of 1 year with 2 separate one-year options to renew. Do we
Yes,
have a name of a person or a
Gone
company?
Green Electric Company out of Rockland, Mass.
Okay,
They are actually our present on-call.
good.
We've had a good experience.
So
with
good
them.
experience with them. And do we have a backup behind them or is just one person?
He's our backup for
Okay.
our county electrician.
I see. Got it. I
So
see.
if he's on vacation for a certain amount of time and something happens, we have someone to call.
Okay, great. Here's our plan B.
He's our plan B.
All right. Do we need a motion on this?
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I make a
Okay,
motion
motion.
to award the contract for on-call electrician as needed for the county of Norfolk to include any of its towns or cities for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew to Gone Green Electric Co. Incorporated of Rockland, Massachusetts.
All right. A motion is, I'll second that. A motion has been made and seconded to appoint the on-call electrician as needed, as read by Acting Commissioner Buckley. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, ready for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. That motion carries, and congratulations to our on-call electrician. Give you a second for that. Next, we have on the agenda the on-call plumber as needed. Now, I know we have a plumber, you know that, so this is another plan B.
This is another plan B.
All right.
And that would be being awarded to DNF Plumbing and Heating. Again, for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew for the county to include any of its cities or towns.
Okay.
And he is the backup if our in-house plumber is on extended, or if something is just too large of a job.
All right. Now, are they currently also working for the county?
Yes, they
Right
are.
there. Okay. All right. Sounds great. Anything else you want to add on that? They've done good work. We're happy with that.
For the work they've done for us,
Okay.
they've done a very good job.
All right. Mr. Buckley?
Can I, do you have that? Is there 2 copies of each of these?
Yeah, I just.
You got both of them.
Okay, can I have that?
Yep, you're gonna have these ones now. These are
Read it off.
New ones.
That's fine.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the as-needed on-call plumber.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the on-call plumber as needed for the county of Norfolk to include any of its towns or cities for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew to DNF Plumbing and Heating, Patrick J. Kennedy and Sons Incorporated. Robert W. Irvine and Sons.
You can
All right.
strike all that, just your DNF plumbing.
DNF.
DNF Plumbing and Heating.
Okay. All right. So a motion has been made. I'll second that to award the on-call plumber as needed to DNF Plumbing. What town are they from?
Dedham.
Denver, very good. All right. So the terms as stated, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
Not far to go.
Hearing none, that motion carries. Great. And again, nice work, Nancy. Thank you very much. I think that's it, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Thanks,
there
Nancy.
you go. All right.
Mhm.
So I take care of contract awards. Next item on our agenda is budget development.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. The FY23 budget development is well underway. As you understand, last week we had our meeting with the advisory board, our first of potentially two. They opened their hearing. A full review of the FY23 budget was presented. There were several questions relative to some of the changes made, staffing and so forth. Through you, I do expect one of the major components associated with FY23 budget planning to be available next week. The Ripples Group is planning to deliver their product to us on Monday. We'll distribute it to the commissioners to register and so forth. And I do plan to have the Ripples Group come in a week from today to present their product to you in a public session. In the event there's any impact associated with their product that may impact the FY23 budget, my plan is to have a follow-up meeting on May 4th with the commissioners to discuss any such actions that may impact the FY23 budget proposal. So at this point, everything's going according to plan. There aren't any major changes yet to the FY23 budget. As I mentioned, the advisory board had a spirited discussion about the content, but I think all in all, things look pretty settled.
All right, that's good.
Absent the Ripples Group impact.
So once the Ripples Group presents next week,
Mhm.
or if even needed the following week,
Mhm.
some of these other appointments that are temporary can be kind of resolved and
Right.
work
I
their way
talked to
up.
Michelle about that today. As the commissioners know, I built the facilities maintenance budget with all of the temporary salaries as a separate line item. And that's because you can't presume that once these positions become permanent, that they will go into any of our available vacancies. There are bumping rights that are associated with some of the other vacancies. So what we'll likely do, and we're still working on this, is leave the funding in the temporary line item, and then come July 1st, anoint them permanent, and then the bidding process starts.
And that would make sense. That's what, because I wondered about that. If you move them quickly,
The problem
there's
is
an adjustment in pay and do we have the money to do it? And I thought, but anyways, I was thinking about that.
there's a little bit of a twist. It's not a deal breaker, but
Yeah.
if that's the approach we take,
Yeah,
and we allow sort of the bumping process to proceed,
right.
the money to pay them is in a different category. So effective July 1st, they wouldn't be temporary employees. So what we'll do is we'll utilize the base budget to pay them, and then September or the next advisory board will move the money from temporary into the regular appropriation.
That sounds good.
Did pretty much reversing the action we took this past
I know
fiscal
exactly
year
what
to
you're
create
doing.
this in
Thank
the
you.
first place. So
Right, right.
there is an action behind it, but we're looking a little further into that, make sure the process is true.
But it'd be good news to have people hired, like not temporary, in terms of the new fiscal year, which I think was our goal
Yeah,
altogether.
and that will impact approximately 5 employees.
Good, good. All right. All right, next time, anything else on budget development?
No, sir.
All right, we're moving along. 14, report on the American Rescue Plan Act. Any
Thank
updates on that?
We today awarded our latest grants. Commissioner, per your request, I provided this tracking sheet, which should be under your paper. It was there when you sat there. We have awarded now $11,035,500
Thank you.
to these various Norfolk County communities, which is approximately 8% of the total ARPA grant. We have followed up with the U.S. Treasury through our congressional delegation contact to determine if there's been any action associated with the appeal/meetings we had with them about a month ago. There is nothing to report at this time. Assistant Director Buckley and I just came from a Norfolk County managers meeting where there was some discussion about not just that topic, but the overall management of the grant. It's safe to say that a couple of the communities still feel quite strongly about the lost opportunity that the revenue loss problem is presenting to them. They've asked us to consider another level of amplifying the message, possibly going through the press. We will only take that action with the commissioner's approval and certainly with the approval of our federal partners who are helping us. And our communities understand that this has to be an all-in proposition, but we do hear them. We've always understood from the beginning that this is very much of a detriment to their planning, but they're grateful, very grateful for the access they received to the Treasury to make their appeal. In addition, the American Rescue Plan Act is entering a critical phase. Reports are being requested of the receiving departments. They need to respond back to Clifton Larson on the status of their awards so that our vendor auditor can supply their quarterly updates to the federal treasury. In addition, I think I mentioned this before, we are expecting the second tranche of money in about 2 months. That would be an additional $58,000 that will be coming back to the county to fulfill the whole $137 million appropriated. So it's a relatively busy time. There was a lot of discussion for about a 45-minute period today. I wish we had more time, but we continue to keep in daily contact with our partners in the community. In fact, I think we have one with Norfolk tomorrow. Is that correct? To help them understand a clear path to grant management. So overall, things are going according to plan.
All right, good. I know you're working hard, both you and Bill and everybody. So, I commend you for that. And I think the program, I think, has been successful. As you had noted before, we're ahead of the other counties, what it's worth. But I think also that snafu was caused by the Treasury, right or wrong, good or bad. The director came down after we had begun, and it's obviously something we're trying to work through. So keep on top of it and let us know what else we can do. Did you say that the remaining money is just $58,000? And then they'll bring it? Oh, 58 million. I thought I heard you. Okay,
No.
That's a little different. That's a big
A little
amount.
more.
All right,
Another
so
zero.
that will bring us to a total of 137?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good, very good. It's always good news to get money.
Yes, sir.
All right, anything else you want to add on that?
No, that's
No?
about it.
Okay. How are the towns? I know you mentioned last week, I thought you did, Director Cronin, you had said there were several towns lining up to apply. Is that?
Yep.
Are they still kind of working their way through?
They are.
Any towns of note coming in?
Well, Needham had a substantial award, over $2 million. I approved it this morning in concept, but I'm not going to release the funds through the commissioners at this time because they don't need it. I spoke to Kate Fitzpatrick at the meeting we just came from, and she's fine with it. She needed the concept to be approved to proceed with drafting a bid and so forth. But the expense associated with this water infrastructure project won't be incurred for several more months, likely till September. And it is not recommended that we release funds to any municipality for them to hold the funds for an extended period of time. We will release the funds when they're needed. So this is the second award that enters the approved in concept phase, and the communities understand it. So other than that, there are several that I noticed Franklin just entered the portal. They have several projects that are coming in. Medway informed us today that they're putting in a very large water infrastructure project, I think today. And I also saw Robin Grimm this afternoon, and she's very close to putting in her. Yeah, and she told us, and she confirmed today, that'll be a all-in one grant for the full amount for the community.
Right.
And I think she's very close to doing that. She just needs one more piece of paper. So
Great.
I think over the next several weeks, you'll see some of those larger awards come in that will satisfy the full allotment for some of these communities. So it's been very active, to say the least.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. Just keep it up. Keep us posted.
Sure.
We'll keep plugging away on it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next would be the report of the county director.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. A few items, as I mentioned, the Ripples Group report is due early next week. We will share with the Registry of Deeds and the commissioners, likely Monday, for a presentation by the Ripples Group on April 27th. We'll see if there's any need for the commissioners to take action the following week as they continue their open hearing relative to the FY23 budget. Employees are reminded that the New York Life open enrollment period is April 26th, May 4th, and May 12th. A notice went out to department heads, employees alike, by Michelle yesterday afternoon. If anybody has any questions about those benefits, please reach out to our HR director. The Public Employees Committee, also known as the PEC, began meeting, I think, in January to discuss the framework for healthcare services in Norfolk County. After several meetings, we are close to a final sign-off on a 3-year agreement This particular agreement will affirm that Norfolk County will not be offering a high deductible health plan option for the next 3 years. These high deductible plans are desirable from a sort of a management or employer perspective because they do save money. But the PEC did reach out to its members and found no interest in such a plan at this time, so we won't be offering it. Collective bargaining negotiations began this past week. Meeting one occurred. We received offers from each of the 3 unions that we're working with. We'll meet again on May 6th, June 10th, and June 23rd. Additional meetings will be scheduled as necessary, but things are moving along very respectfully and predictably, I guess you could say, and our work is well underway. Let's see. The Dedham Superior Court Dome project, which had been mothballed for the winter, will start up on Monday, April 25th. I believe that's Monday, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's great.
They've been off all winter, as you know.
That's great.
And that is all I have right now, Mr. Commissioner, I think.
Okay, a couple of questions, if I may.
Mhm.
Is there any further work being done or ongoing in the District Court of Stoughton?
Yes, so the District Court of Stoughton has a contract awarded to Ambient Corporation to finish the rooftop unit installations for the air conditioning. The firm went on site to assess the readiness for the installation, and they were informed by the court that work could not be done during normal court work hours. This has thrown a bit of a curveball to the planning associated with the project, which of course was bid for straight time, normal business days. We understand the court's hesitancy to experience any kind of disruption overhead, literally overhead. So we've asked the vendor to provide a quote for a change order to produce this work on weekends or after hours.
Let me stop for a second.
Sure.
Now, I remember I visited that several times and you were there as well.
Yeah.
I thought the understanding I left with the meetings we had was that some work could take place in one area of the court
Mhm.
because they would have sessions at the other end. And then when that was finished, they could flip flop it. So this is kind of a little curveball.
It is.
Do you remember that discussion?
I do.
Remember that?
I think people had a general idea then that there was some flexibility, and I don't disagree with the commissioner. What
Okay.
my plan right now is to receive the quote for change order, which will obviously be of cost impact. But then I want to have a conversation with my partner at the trial courts, Chuck O'Brien, who's in charge of facilities,
Okay.
to explain to him this cost impact and its affordability impact, if you will, on the project's success.
All right.
Because at the end of the day, the work that's necessary in the roof will likely take approximately maybe just over 2 weeks of work, a total of 10 days of work. If we have to string that out over 10 Saturdays, we'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
That's not the desired outcome.
Yeah.
So my hope is that once we know what the change order cost is, I'll approach the trial courts and have a rational discussion about flexible ways to install it. Back to your original thought.
Okay, good thought.
Yep.
Smart move. And one last thing, if I could. Let me go back to the American Rescue Plan.
Mhm.
Are we still ahead of the curve in terms of other groups that might be interested in applying, such as that watershed group or other people that had an interest in obtaining opera funds? Are we kind of in a
Well, to the
holding pattern for some of them?
extent that the watershed, I had a wonderful conversation. I think I informed you about with the woman who runs the organization, and I explained to her the purpose areas, the scope of work, and their interest in working within Norfolk County boundaries. I implored her to try and reach out to some of the more prominent communities that her plan or project would work directly with, and apply through them. She was ready to do that. We left on very good terms, and as far as I'm concerned, it's something that she has to follow up on and find out the best path to secure it, because it was if I recall correctly, Commissioner, it was a multi-community impact plan.
Mhm.
And I don't remember all the details, but there was certainly one community that was more prominently featured. And I asked her to speak to them directly about the plan and so forth.
Fair enough.
So, and through you, Mr. Commissioner, I think it would be beneficial for the communities to know that they have a potential project going on in their jurisdiction, that if the commissioners were to evaluate and potentially award, the local communities have already bought into or expressed concerns associated with the program before it gets to you. So again, do the local work first. and report back. So I haven't heard back from her on the Charles River watershed item, but it was a productive conversation left in her good hands to follow up.
Excellent, thank you. Follow up also as well. I remember my notes indicated a discussion about perhaps reaching back to the nurse agent from the town of Needham. She presented to us a proposal and some ideas, and we had some thoughts about maybe looking at that program again. Is there any thought of that? Maybe it's just something we could bring up in the summertime and talk to her.
We certainly can to find out where she left off, but if you recall, it's the same exact paradigm where she was looking at a program that initially she thought the county could run. That, with good ideas, we had the resources to initiate, if I recall correctly, some kind of homeless housing solution. When I explained to her that we, as a governmental organization, didn't have the resources to run a grant program like that, we would instead look to partner with large communities within Norfolk County that, benefited some kind of a homeless situation. We would need her to help facilitate a program or a scope, and then make contact, same thing, with the communities to find out, would you be interested in sponsoring a grant program through ARPA that Norfolk County could fund? That's where we left it with her. I think she understood our limitations to run a program, but yet there was a need on her end to, in the same vein, follow up with larger communities to find out, are you interested in filing an application for this type of scope? So we left it with her to see how far it goes.
Sounds good.
But if you'd like, I can certainly invite her back this summer to check in on her progress, but.
Well, let's make sure when the full board is here too, we can have a little conversation about it. But
Absolutely.
I would like to, myself personally, I'd like to tie up some loose ends. And we're going to reach out to Fire Chief Duty also as a follow-up to that program he had a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And see where he is on that as well. So I'll kind of tap that. I see on the line, Robert Pearson. It's good to see him back. I don't know if he's listening in, but Robert, we have your program. It's wonderful to see about the AmeriCorps seniors and your spring newsletter. So good to see you back and great work. Anything you want to talk about, Rob? You good to see you.
Just thank you for the welcome back. It's good to be back. In a month's time, we'll be able to talk to you about the August luncheon update.
Wonderful.
So that's next on the docket. Thank you very much.
You'll be here before you know it. Let's not rush too much, but summer's coming, right?
I agree. We have time.
And Bill just said he loves a good
Loves a good
luncheon, so we're all for it.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Cronin, any other topics you want
No,
to
sir.
talk about?
No, sir.
All right, Bob, good to see you. Thank you. Any emergency items or topics the chair did not anticipate to be discussed? Anything at all?
I'm good here.
Okay, so that looks like we're going to conclude our meeting. We obviously want to wish our chairman well and a speedy recovery, and hopefully next week we'll have our full board here. All right, so I'll entertain a motion there at this time to adjourn at 1:40.
So moved. You and I do a pretty good meeting, huh?
I always run it fast. This is my reputation in Canton. Fast town meeting.
I'm pretty
So,
good too. I got a good.
I'm setting a
meeting.
high bar now. All in favor of adjournment at 1:40, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, folks. Have a good week.
Take
and
care.
good weekend.